take Trump up, Contessa, on that issue. But this whole idea of race, you know what? If there are birthers and they're all crazy and silly for actually wanting to see a birth certificate, well, let's talk about the racers, the people who believe that every
half years, birthers insisted if the president would only release his long-form birth certificate, all of the questions would end. Well, he did. And some are still questioning. Here's Arizona State Senator Steve Smith on Hardball last night.
What are your doubts?
Well, I think you can put it, if I had to put it at equation, I'd say there's still a good 10-20% chance. If it were this transparent, don't you think it would have been released A, 2 years ago, and B, about 4 months ago?
Tony Katz is a Tea Party activist and a radio talk show host. I'm really curious for you to weigh in on this. What do you think about the whole controversy?
Which part of the controversy? Well, the fact that it took the man 3 years, or the fact that people don't trust him?
The lingering questions about whether he was actually born in the United States.
I think that the truth is Obama brought these questions upon himself. There's a great article in pajamazmedia.com from Richard Fernandez that says the problem is that people don't trust Obama, and it's that lack of trust that leads people to look at the birth certificate that was released and still question its veracity and its validity. Obama created the issue. He created the lack of trust, and no one trusts him.
How can you put that on Obama? He had the short form birth certificate, the one that Hawaii always officially releases when a birth certificate is requested, has been out there for ages. Reporters have seen it. They vetted it. It has been a fact as long as there was a question.
Contessa, he has spent millions of dollars hiding the birth certificate and other things.
Where are you getting that?
Hold on.
Where are you getting that?
I'm a Tea Party guy. I am not a birther. He shows the birth certificate. I move on from that and move on to the rest of the failed policies, which is the story.
Wait, no. I know, but you just said he spent millions hiding it. I want to know where.
Where do I get that?
Yeah.
Go take the search. He has spent unbelievable amounts of money to hide who he is and what's happening. He has fought the legal challenges when he could have fixed this. You know, there's a lieutenant colonel, I believe, who sits in jail because he wouldn't follow orders until he had proof. And here goes President Obama on Oprah laughing about it. This is not a laughing matter. This is Obama failing to do his job, and he could have done this years ago.
It's not a laughing matter. They say that there are questions about him, not because there really are questions about where he's born, but because he's black. And meanwhile, we've let Donald Trump put this back on the front burner. You know what? Here's Trump yesterday. I mean, how much reliability does this guy have? Let me play what he said yesterday about the possibility of running in 2012. Let me play it.
Excuse me. CNN did a poll recently where Obama and I are statistically tied.
Okay, you know what CNN says? CNN's polling unit says it never even polled on that question, never asked it. Where's he getting that? Why do we let him put this on the front burner?
Take Trump up, Contessa, on that issue. But this whole idea of race, you know what? If there are birthers and they're all crazy and silly for actually wanting to see a birth certificate, well, let's talk about the racers, the people who believe that everything's a conspiracy about race. It's Obama's race that people want to see the birth certificate. It's Obama's race that people don't like the out-of-control spending. It's not his race. It's that he's awful. The policies are terrible. Obamacare is a lie and a failure.
Tony, you know, there are a lot of people. There were a lot of people who took that very exact same stand when George W. Bush was president. They said the exact same words that you're saying about President Bush, and they never demanded. Wait. And they never demanded to see a birth certificate.
They didn't say it was race. Everything that comes out of the racers, and they exist in the Washington Post, the New York Times, the Huffington Post, some people at your very network, and you know I enjoy having these conversations with you. They are so focused. Everything is about race. It's not about race. When we talk about Obama and the policies, it's about the awful policies. It's about the inability to bring down debt. It's about the inability to tackle the deficit. And when everybody says, oh, they're just after this because of race, it is a nonsense. It's a way to stop people from having conversation. Political correctness at its worst. If we want to talk about the issues, let's talk about the issues.
But that's
if
not
the birthers want to continue, let them.
Right. Well, the birthers have been not focusing on policy. They haven't been focusing on the nation's economy. What they've been focused on is that long-form birth certificate. And even when it's released, they still maintain the 10 to 20% doubt. It just seems odd. But you're right.
Let's see in a week or two what they think.
So now, the next time we talk, Tony, let's talk about policy, okay?
I would love that.
We'll be right back.
take Trump up, Contessa, on that issue. But this whole idea, take Trump up, Contessa, on that issue. But this whole idea of race, you know what? If there are birthers and they're all crazy and silly for actually wanting to see a birth certificate,